Did you know that 87% of all life on Earth is sustained by just 39 inches of topsoil? However, over the past 40 years, we've lost around 40% of that topsoil. According to the United Nations, we have only enough soil left for approximately 80 to 100 harvest seasons, meaning that at this rate, we have about 45 to 60 years until we run out of healthy soil to grow our food. This is a deeply concerning reality, as soil degradation does not only affect our ability to feed ourselves, but also has far-reaching consequences for biodiversity all around the world and those directly responsible for growing our food, farmers. In this video, we'll be exploring the causes and consequences of soil degradation and what we can do to protect and restore this vital resource. One of the major causes of soil degradation is the overuse of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. These substances are used to promote the growth and protect crops from pests and other diseases, but their excessive use can disrupt the balance of microorganisms in the soil and lead to contamination and the loss of vital nutrients. This can result in reduced crop yields and negative impacts on the environment and human health. Another factor that contributes to soil degradation is the practice of monoculturism, or the repeated cultivation of a single crop over a large area. This practice can reduce the diversity of microorganisms in the soil and make it more vulnerable to erosion and nutrient depletion. It can also lead to the overuse of chemicals, as farmers may rely on them to protect their crops. Soil degradation has serious consequences for agriculture and the environment. Here are just a few. Number 1. Decreased crop yields. Soil degradation can lead to decreased crop yields as soil becomes less fertile and less able to support plant growth. This can have serious consequences for food security and livelihoods, particularly in areas where agriculture is the main source of income. For example, soil degradation in the Sahel region of Africa has been linked to overgrazing, overuse of land, and a lack of proper management. According to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, the UNCCD, approximately 85% of the land in the Sahel region is degraded to some extent. This has led to decreased crop yields, food insecurity, and poverty in the region. Second, we have erosion and landslides. Soil erosion is the process by which soil is carried away by wind or water, leading to a loss of topsoil and reduced soil fertility. Erosion can be exacerbated by soil degradation as the soil becomes less able to hold them to moisture and nutrients. In extreme cases, erosion can lead to landslides, which can cause damage to infrastructure and loss of life. For example, landslides caused by soil erosion have been a major problem in the Philippines, particularly in the aftermath of natural disasters such as typhoons. Soil erosion has also been linked to the loss of agricultural land and decreased crop yields in the country. Third, we have water pollution. Soil degradation can also contribute to water pollution, as the loss of soil structure and nutrients can lead to the leaching of chemicals into the groundwater and surface water. This can have serious consequences for human health and the environment. For example, agricultural runoff from soil erosion has been a major contributor to water pollution in the Chesapeake Bay. According to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, agricultural practices, including the use of fertilizers and pesticides, are the leading source of pollution in the area. Soil erosion from agricultural land has also been linked to the loss of habitats for fish and other aquatic species in the bay. And fourth, loss of biodiversity. Soil degradation can also lead to the loss of biodiversity, as the loss of soil structure and nutrients can make it less suitable for supporting a diverse array of plant and animal life. This can have serious consequences for ecosystems and the services they provide, such as pollination and pest control. For example, soil degradation due to the overuse of pesticides has been linked to declines of populations of bees and other pollinators in the United Kingdom. But it's not too late to turn things around. There are many ways that we can work to restore and protect our soil, including the following. One solution to soil degradation is called conservation tillage, which is when farmers minimize the amount of soil disturbance during farming to help preserve the soil structure and reduce erosion. This can be done through practices like no-till farming, where the soil isn't plowed or tilled before planting, and reduced tillage, where the soil is tilled significantly less than in traditional farming methods. Another solution is crop rotation, where farmers plant different crops in a specific order over time. This helps to improve soil fertility and reduce pests and diseases. For example, rotating between nitrogen-fixing crops like legumes and non-nitrogen-fixing crops like cereals can add nitrogen to the soil and improve fertility. Crop rotation can also break the life cycle of pests and diseases that are specific to certain crops. Cover crops like legumes and grasses can be planted to protect the soil from erosion and improve its fertility. These crops are often planted between main crops or in the off-season, and they help stabilize the soil surface and intercept rainwater to prevent erosion. They also add organic matter and nutrients to the soil as they decompose, improving soil fertility. Another one you might be more familiar with is composting. Composting is another solution, which is the process of decomposing organic matter, like food scraps and yard waste, to create a nutrient-rich soil amendment. This helps to recycle nutrients and organic matter back into the soil, improving its structure and fertility. Integrated pest management, on the other hand, is a sustainable way to manage pests and diseases using a variety of techniques like biological controls and reduced pesticide use. This can involve releasing predatory insects to control pest populations, using trap crops to attract pests away from main crops, and using pest-resistant crop varieties. Water conservation is important to reduce the amount of water needed for crop production while also preventing soil erosion caused by over-irrigation. Water-saving techniques like drip irrigation, mulching, and water harvesting are all useful in retaining moisture in the soil and reducing erosion. Lastly, we have soil erosion control. To control soil erosion, physical barriers like terracing or windbreaks can be used. Cover crops and conservation tillage can also help to reduce soil disturbance and stabilize the soil surface. Other measures include using erosion-resistant crop varieties, establishing buffer zones around bodies of water, and implementing proper drainage systems. Here are a few ideas for things that you can do at home to help protect soil. First off, start composting. By composting your food scraps and yard waste, you can help recycle nutrients and organic matter back into the soil, instead of letting them all go to the landfill where they're all just going to rot away. Second, you can use less water when watering your plants and lawn, and consider implementing water-saving techniques like drip irrigation. Over-irrigation can lead to soil erosion and the depletion of groundwater resources. Next, you can support sustainable agriculture by choosing products that are grown using practices that promote soil health instead of damaging it, such as organic farming or regenerative agriculture. Use pesticides and fertilizers sparingly, even in your lawn, and consider using natural alternatives when possible. Excess use of these chemicals can have negative impacts on soil health and your health as well. Plant a tree or shrub in your yard to help stabilize the soil and intercept rainwater to prevent erosion, although always remember to use local indigenous plants that are actually going to fit well within the local ecosystem. So next time you think about the food on your plate, remember that it starts with the soil. It always starts with the soil. Let's work together to protect this vital resource for future generations. Thanks for watching. See you next time.